No, I
or
thought you
looking a bit.
G'day, legends. Welcome into the Punters Club before the game. A bit of footy on the way with bit of chat and a tip to get you started. We're keeping it relaxed today, so grab a cold one and settle in. Let's have a look at the matchups and see where the value's at.
bomb.
All right, guys, welcome to Before the Game on a beautiful, balmy 8-degree Saturday morning, and a few people kicking off the dew, I reckon, this morning in under-19s footies, lads. Welcome back. We had a week off last week. You had some basketball finals. You had probably your 9th hip surgery, and I can't remember what I had on, but we all had it's a buy round we generally do in the middle of the season with the footy show as well. So it was a whole week off footy and allowed me to focus on some other stuff. Very first thing, gents, before I go, last night a game was called off Bundoora under-19s. Young Jack Shelton copped a head injury. Gary Hickey called me this morning. He's okay. He's home. All is good. So it's just good to get that message out there. So recover well there, Jack. You just love it when the guys put their heads over the ball, but they're the other problems of it. But he's a great player too, Jackie. Yeah.
And speaking of basketball, I suppose I was on my way to Collingwood last night, Friday night basketball, and drove past Bundoora and thought I'd comment about how many cars were there. How much activity was there.
Yep.
How many people were there, and I think under-19s footy on Friday night. Geez, it would be good if it could become a more permanent fixture. Sorry to hear that about Sheltz's.
He's a really, really good young player too. Obviously, I was involved with them last year with the 19s as I think they called me a runner in the end because they said I wasn't fit to be an assistant coach. But no, it was great. They were great kids. But yes, get well, mate. Probably got a headache this morning, but he'll be back up. He's a pretty tough little cookie. And thanks to Hicks for sending that in because, a lot of people ask us those questions, which is great. Boys, we don't have a guest today. Adrian's away. He's got a personal thing he's dealing with this morning, so that's no dramas. And we don't have a guest, so it's probably good for us to have 1 week off a guest because I want to go some stuff. Now, you boys have no idea what I'm about to talk about. I'm going to put just the comments on here a little bit because I reckon some people might have some opinions on it. So, what do you think about this one, boys? You ready?
Let us have it.
All right. Been put on my desk during the week, and a good journalist, which I'm not, never reveals his source, but I won't. It's been put on my desk that there is a Super League coming. Right? Now, it could be as far as 2030, but over 10 clubs have been reached out to join a super thing across Victoria. So you might have a couple from north, couple from east, couple from west, couple from south, whatever it is. I don't know that yet, but I'll read it. There's a major discussion currently happening behind the scenes in local football about the possibility of a Super League. It's not an official proposal yet, but it's a conversation that has gathered momentum and there is already buy-in of up to 10 clubs. The ideas being discussed look something like this: 10 elite clubs, no salary cap, club agreed points agreed by all participating presidents the year in advance, and that will be assessed each year. An independent CEO, a board made up of only club presidents participating in that league, a tribunal made up of 4 appointed presidents from that league, no AFL Victoria involvement, a waiting list for if it gets to 12 clubs, there'll be a waiting list to join the Super League, not a promotion-demotion type scenario. The reason behind it, to have the best local players available each week, and they believe that the current bodies are over controlling too much at the moment, and it will include people to be able to come back into the sport and major sponsors. They've already got over $400,000 of committed sponsors. It's pretty big.
How did this come about?
Pretty big bomb. Well, I don't know. It hit my desk. Look, it has been spoken about previously. I know I've spoken about it previously, but and I guess this is my question, there seems to be a bit of disdain for maybe the way country footy's going, local footy's going, not just in Victoria, anywhere. A lot of people just feel that there's just too much punishments, too much fines, too much power at one level, and sooner or later that bubble's got to burst. I can't remember if it happened in NRL or something, didn't it? They became the ARL, at the highest level. But I know there's a couple of country footy sides that have said we've had enough of the AFL Vic system and are going standalone in the next year or two. So it could go that way. They've got to be really careful. And I guess that's my question. It's open-ended. How do you see something like that working?
I reckon there's a lot of work to get it off the ground.
I agree.
I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Yep.
But that's only my thoughts. I don't know. All over Victoria, you're saying?
Yeah, no, all over the metros. There's
okay.
interest from the metro clubs. So, for example,
All right, so sorry, I'll give you a
Bundoora
question.
could be playing Edithvale Aspendale next week. These aren't the clubs, obviously. I don't know who the clubs are, right? So I'm third person in here.
So if there's an influx of teams, like you just said, 10,
Yep.
about 10, did you
10,
say?
10 maximum 12 they want to have.
Okay,
in
let's
the Super
say
League.
there's 20 that want to get in on it.
No, only 12.
I understand that.
Yep.
Who chooses those sides?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it comes down to. I don't know. It's in its infancy, but the fact that it's being discussed concerns me because does it take something for things to be revisited, at the next level? So I had a couple of conversations about this week with some other people in and out of the industry, involved in footy, but not at that level. And their opinions were that there's too much pressure around media. There's too much pressure around suspensions. There's too much pressure around financial reliance on clubs. So, and if the clubs are putting up $50,000 a year, say, to be part of a league, and then they get pinged with another $2,000 of fines, that's a problem. And then decisions are being made. There's not consistency in rules, and junior clubs are leaving certain things like no tomorrow. So I know in the South, in the Southern League, they've lost around about 20% of their junior teams over the last 3 years, and it's all been around compliance and fines.
Is this Southern Metro?
It's a Southern side, yes, Southern Metro, yeah.
Southern Metro League, which is a very successful league.
Yep.
Very strong league. It sort of rivals the Yarra Juniors, and
Yep.
There's huge buy-in for it as
Yep.
well. I do know that the people at the Yarra Junior Football League sort of beat their chest proudly that they're not under the banner of AFL Victoria.
So are they not?
No.
I didn't know that.
No, and there's always a disdain for what they're doing, and that's
For the Yarra or the AFL?
AFL Vic.
Okay, yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no doubt where their agendas lie. Is it for the heart and soul volunteer? Is it to really support and stand shoulder to shoulder with them? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't feel that they're there to support the game in the way that the volunteer does, who's mopping the floors and trying his best to keep a community club surviving so that kids have got somewhere to play. And
Do you know
and
it's funny
adults
you
are there.
say that? Because the person I spoke to about this said to me something very similar. The volunteer gives so much to pay these associations, and then they get fined for being 15 minutes late, or something happens and there should be the opportunity to be dealt internally within club to club rather than straight to a tribunal. Now, there has to be rules in life. There just has to be, right? I'd argue our government's not doing a very good bloody job either of anything, and we seem to be paying them all of our tax money as well. So I understand why you need bodies, because you can get out of control pretty quickly. I guess my thought, Rob, is around, is there that much disdain that something like this could get off the ground? Are they saying that we want to, if unfortunately, I can only utilise. Let's say Keilor. If Keilor can't put their best side on the park this week because of salary cap, is that wrong? If they've got access to have all these players, shouldn't the best players be playing every week? Is that what a Super League will offer?
Obviously. But I can see why the salary cap is in place and the point system is in place.
Yep. Points, yes. Salary cap's a waste of time.
No one controls it anyway.
No.
I mean, it's all under the table, I'm sure of it.
It's all rubbish. You know it's rubbish. I know it's rubbish.
But
It's crap.
look, every league's probably got their frustration from every club.
Mm-hmm.
But, you got to have, like you said, you got to have a body that controls it all.
Yep.
Yes, it's frustrating, but I don't know. I don't know about a super side.
I agree.
Let's look at it on the surface. Did you play the Diamond Valley Football League? And what
Diamond
do we
Valley
know
before it was
And what are
Northern.
we known as now?
Northern.
And can we piece back to why that was?
No, go
I
on,
can
tell
help
me.
you,
I
'cause
think
it was a
I
punch
think
league.
I vaguely know.
Was it a punch league? Is that why?
I'm gonna say that there's one club that would join this Super League in a second, banged the desk and said, we want nothing to do with this league anymore.
Yep.
People started to look through the books and figured
Yeah,
out
okay.
that, hang on, this isn't being run successfully.
Yep.
So Heidelberg wanted to leave, and the Northern Footy League was born because they wanted to clear the decks and start again.
Yeah, it's
Right.
coming back to me now.
Okay.
So if this Super League was to get up, I think that there would be so many things that you would need to do.
Yep.
You know, who's the umpires? Where are they governed from?
Yeah.
Amateurs play in that sort of realm at the moment. You know, do clubs that aren't attached to schoolboys, are they successful? Suburban clubs that need to travel, it shows that they're not. And there are amateur clubs that are now coming to suburban comps. So there's a lot of areas that would be grey that you would need to do. But what it is, it's noise. Like Heidelberg, it's noise. And they can stop a Super League very, very easy by opening their ears and listening to the guys that mop the floors.
And I
That's what they
honestly
need to do.
believe that's what this is about. I don't think it'll ever get off the table. I think it'll be bloody hard with insurances and all these things. There'll be no subsidies from the AFL or anything like that because it's a standalone
But
league.
it's a thirst. And if we just grab that record right there.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, you grab it. Yeah, just ruin the set. That's fine. No, you take over, Ben. It's all about you. The urn's about to die. There we go. Sorry, it's a cheapie. It's not real.
This is bad. But these are the premiership sides from that era. So
Yes.
that was from 2012.
Yep.
The very first one there, you can see it's not great.
Yep.
What we needed to do. That was one day, 3 grounds. Teams from Shepparton, Geelong, West Preston won it that year as well. They all wanted to come together and play. It was a practice match in
Yep.
the 2020 format. It was an opening of like the season. Could you sustain that throughout winter? That's a big question to ask. To say you want to come from Shepparton to go and
travel would
play
be a big
against
thing.
Spotswood, so and the thing is that actually exists. It's called the VFL. You know,
Yeah.
and they're struggling, these standalone clubs, these
But the
Coburgs and
VFL's on its
Prestons.
way out. Let's be honest. It's
It is,
in
but
the next 2
then-
years, it's
Absolutely.
gone.
And I think we spoke about this about a month ago, that
Yep.
then you can't have Southport Sharks, who've
Yep.
got more money than 3 AFL clubs combined, playing against Preston
Yes.
that are doing Bunnings barbecues to survive. Like, there's an imbalance, but there's still a role for a kid who is aspiring to play at that next level,
Yep.
saying, look, I love my club at Kilmore, but I just want to go try myself at Heidelberg because they're playing against Keilor. Right? Oh, there's a thirst for that. Can it happen?
So
Well,
what
it's
if
really hard.
What if 3 or 4 of these VFL sides are part of the Super League?
Well, that would be my Coburgs and Prestons. And,
Port Melbourne,
But do you,
no
do
juniors.
you think that the teams from the Northern League are going to be able to compete?
No, well they're not going to compete. Well, like a Heidelberg, you mean?
Yeah.
yeah, but that would be a transition period. It wouldn't be immediate, but it would be like, right, we're set up to
It's a
do
fair
this.
difference of footy.
Oh, and it will be. I think.
People think that, Heidelberg that good, that they could beat, last year Preston or
Yeah.
whoever else. They're miles away.
Yeah, but
It's miles away.
But
so
that's
you can't.
now.
But a Preston
That's
wouldn't
now.
go in.
Now it's
So-
going to take a long time.
It would take some time. I mean, it hasn't taken Diamond Creek too long.
No.
So, but there would be a thirst for it, but it existed, and it was the VFA, and people loved that back
Yeah.
in the halcyon days, as they always said. But society's changed; things have evolved. Sunday afternoon footy of Coburg versus Preston we'll never relive that.
No,
So if
never,
you were
never.
I don't think it will.
with VFL being gone within 2 years, and going back to AFL reserves, which is my mail, it's not confirmed by the AFL, but I'm pretty confident from the people that have told me that's happening. So if you were an aspiring AFL player, say like a Joel Fitzgerald a year ago, would he, with no VFL anymore, would he say, well, I won't play at Hurst Bridge, who's going to be in the Northern League, I'll go and play in the Super League, because all of a sudden the scouts are going to pay a lot of attention to a Super League where the best of the best are.
Yep.
Possibly.
Could be your best stepping stone as well, couldn't it?
Well, I think that's the only pathway. There's not really a pathway that exists for a Nathan Thomas, who's a Layla player. I'll go and play at Coburg and finish at Bundoora, for example.
Yeah.
Or Shane Whitnell, who,
Yeah.
I'm just on the cusp of Carlton, but I'll go and play at Williamstown and play that. If that level is taken away, but that's when the reserves come in, and that pool of talent will probably
if
go
the
into the
VFL's
reserves.
gone,
What's
that
this?
means the league.
Wouldn't it almost be on level with the VFL from Thomas? Now, Thomas is the guy that his headband knocked off. 141,000 views on that video, the one we just seen before, the big hip and shoulder. It would be, with the VFL going, I think it will be at that level.
But if the VFL's gone, then league clubs are going to have reserves.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
those players
They're
will-
going to go
will-
up
will-
anyway.
will fill those spots.
Yeah, but Port Melbourne's not going to go up. That's the problem. They're only going to be
But it's only going to strengthen
sides.
local clubs, though.
Yep.
I-
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it working.
I think it's a lot of road to happen, but you and I both know if they get enough money behind it and enough clubs buy in, or enough people say, well, we're never going to win this, you might.
Take aside all the administration and the funding and the umpires and who governs it. And do people want to know how Heidelberg would go against the best of the Morning
I
Peninsula?
definitely reckon
I
they
think-
did last year.
Yeah. Well, I know they do. I know that there was 5,000 people who wanted to watch a practice match for it. happen,
Hypothetically, if
Yep.
it did get off the ground,
Yep.
how long do you reckon it'll last?
Probably, I don't know. It's you and I both know it comes down to
Look
money.
at the golf. It's
Yep.
gone to Live. What's happened to it?
Yeah.
It's gone to the shit house.
It's in trouble, yeah.
And that would be my fear too. That a lot of these clubs and there's guys that put money into local footy, and thank God they do.
Yeah,
you know? But a
100%.
self-sustaining organic club like a Northcote Park, where they set themselves up with businesses, and Heidelberg have got some really, really talented, smart people around the club that play juniors there.
Yeah.
That's great. That's not the norm though. There might be a club like Doncaster Sharks,
Yes.
backed by a billionaire who
Yep.
is entrenched in the club, owns, fuel stations. Once that passion sort of disappears,
Disperses. Yeah.
then you're left with the shell of a club. And another club that did that, Broadford did that. Broadford got in a whole heap of players, had this meteoric rise. They sort of left. The club's left without a club for a little while.
Yeah, it
the
was
town's
some
left
recess.
without a
It'd be
club for a little
initially
while.
be a
It does more often than you hear that story than you hear the story of stability and organic growth.
Initially, it'd be a sugar hit.
If this happens, is it healthy or unhealthy, even for just the conversation of it? So maybe AFL Vic says, "Oh, we don't want this. How do we do this together?" And I'm not saying AFL Vic's doing a bad job either. I'm just saying if this is being talked about, there has to be a reason.
Let's not say they're doing a bad job. What are they doing exceptionally well? So having them involved, you're at a touch point with everything. I'd just like to hear what are the three things that they're doing that the grassroots clubs say, okay, thank you, thank God they're here.
Well, I'm not sure.
Ooh.
I haven't looked.
I don't
that
think
deep.
anyone could answer that question.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you what they could answer. The 10 things and reasons why they've got to work harder at a club level to try and raise funds,
Yep.
to pay fees and pay for fines.
Yep.
You could reel them off for weeks.
Mm.
So that I think that answers the question there.
Is it
How
to
do we
fund it?
stand side by side with community clubs, because they're just as important as the high end?
Yeah.
Because the way I
agree
see it,
more.
They are really interested in Auskick because that funds them, and they're really interested in the pathways because that builds their product.
Let me ask you this. Do you know, and I know what it is now, do you know what the percentage of people that take up footy, like AFL footy, do you know what percentage of them from Auskick all the way through make it to AFL, to playing one game of AFL? Do you know the number?
0.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 0.003. It's that small. And that shocked me to learn this week. Really shocked me.
Yeah.
So
I'm not surprised.
So why are we not pumping more money into where 99.9997% of the people are?
Okay.
Now,
I'll answer you another question, okay? Because while we're talking about
Yep.
things that burn away at clubs, what percentage of an Auskick player goes directly to the club that they're associated with? So their fee's $90 each.
okay.
What percentage goes now? Remembering the club pays for the lights, the volunteers,
Yes.
probably the marketing,
Yep.
the sausages, the sausage sizzle, the public liability, the rent. How much of that $90 goes back to the
You're
I actually
saying
thought
that-
it was all of it. Am I
Are you
wrong?
saying how many of the players or the Auskick?
Yeah, how much of the cash?
So your son,
how much of their
your
90
son
bucks?
goes and plays Auskick at
Ooh.
St Mary's, right?
Yeah.
St Mary's has got 200 Auskickers there.
Yep. So 90
They all
bucks a
pay 90
player.
bucks. I don't even know what it is
Yeah,
right now,
just
right?
say it's 90 bucks.
But yeah, so $90. What are you
I thought it was all. I thought it was
That would go
subsidised
to
by the
the-
AFL.
to the club?
Do you know the answer?
I'd say, I'll have a guess. I don't reckon it'll be 50%.
Mate, you need to knock
If
out
it's
a
the
cards
same
night.
as, if
You
it's
need
the
to talk
same
into
as
the
when I
mic
was
today,
trying to
mate.
run Auskick,
I am.
So what was that, mate?
Oh,
if it's the same breakdown, it's
Yep.
zero. It all goes to AFL Victoria and the club runs
Really?
it. Now that I remember mentioning that to Kevin Sheedy, he was disgusted and he said, "I'm going
I
to go."
actually thought it was all of it
Now,
was
I could be
funded
wrong.
by
I could be wrong, and I'm
AFL.
happy to be wrong.
I'm going to research
And
it.
I would love it if more was going to the club. But that's a lot of work because I know if you don't have 200 odds kickers, you'll struggle to have under 17s in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
And that's a big pathway and a lot of stuff that you've got to do to get 0.003 people playing at the highest level.
Yep.
That means that there's a huge percentage of other kids that are still playing a sport
Mm.
that they govern.
It's actually, it's a good point. We could probably talk about this all day. It's taken us 20 minutes just to get to this point.
But what it opens up though, the 20 minutes, we've covered about 8 different topics in there that are all pressure
We
points.
could do this for 5
They're all
hours today.
splinters.
Yeah.
And I asked a very simple question. Tell me the two things that everyone says, yes, AFL Victoria have done a great job and that's why my job's easier.
Okay.
I don't know it.
couldn't name.
I don't know it. I
But
just love
we're
people
going to
to
ask
name
it. We'll ask the question on the socials this week and see what people come back.
Not saying that they're doing a good or bad job. I just want to know what it is, the good one.
I'm not surprised to hear something like this is being talked about. Talking about it getting off the ground are two very different things. But the fact that people with money are talking about it for an abundance of reasons, and one being they want to see the best of the best at local footy playing against each other, and they don't want certain sides to dominate endlessly. And if they don't feel that they're getting enough competition at local level, they have an opportunity to go in there. Yes, you might end up with some richer clubs only in there because you're not going to get a Laylaw in there, are you? You know, they're not going to go and put up $500,000 to be part of it. Not that it would be that either. I have no idea, but it's interesting that people are talking about it. That's my point.
With the points and the salary cap, what I'd love to use is two just really simple metrics. Are the results closer now? And is there a better or worse discrepancy between top and bottom? And then how many premiership teams have actually been in there in the last 10 years?
I like the point system. I think
I
it's as
like
close
it.
as it's been for a long time. Division 2, anyone can win it from 8th to 1st. I think that's great. I don't believe that Heidelberg's a lay down misère this year. I think they're red hot favourite at $1.10, but I think Montmorency and Diamond Creek are there with them, and I think there's a drop
You
away
don't think
after that.
Heidelberg's going to win it?
No, I said they're favourite. I don't think it's a lay down misère, I said.
I reckon it is.
Yeah, I know you do, but they lost last week, and Monty's coming, and they're playing well without Lentini and Stefan Uzlak at the moment. I don't think it's a lay down misère.
I think it would be a lot closer if
I
they
think-
had
I think
a
it'll be a
sliding
certainty.
scale, and they're going to work on the point system for sure. But right now, I think the point system actually is counterproductive.
So how do you fix it? Tell me in one sentence. How do you fix the point system?
You win a flag, you get less points than the team that gets promoted.
That's been
It's
talked
that
about.
simple.
I know it's been talked about at the AFL level.
Yeah.
Yep. And the sides that come up get more salary cap and more points.
And it can't be like a couple of points.
But
It's
that
gotta
wouldn't
be
have
like-
helped South Morang last year. South Morang don't have a points problem and they don't have a money problem. And they arguably went and got Cumberland when they come up as well. So they probably played with 22 points because they retained juniors as well as anyone.
And I do agree with that, except all the teams that were in first division the year before, they retained all their players too.
Yep.
So they actually had a discrepancy of like, it's like if every single player that played in first division the year before was a 2-pointer,
Yep.
they were all a 1-pointer. So
I
that
reckon-
gives them
I
an
reckon every-
unfair
I
advantage.
reckon every
So it's
week
not
that I'm-
about the South Morang side of
No,
it's
you're
not
right,
about the
Sam.
South Morang having more points to play with. It's that the teams above them don't have the same amount of points to play with, and then that brings the
Okay. That's a good point.
I reckon every week that I've been on here, we've spoken about points. So obviously there's a problem.
Yeah, there is. I think you've touched on the best bit there. If there's a scale system, I know I got asked to do a questionnaire last year for an external consulting firm that went back to AFL Vic, I assume, is where it went back to. And one of the questions was, would you support you come up, you can't go down that next year. So if South Green came up, they know they got 2 years to retain their position. So they couldn't come down. So if they finished third last, they wouldn't have come down anyway, whoever's last. But if they finished last, second last would have come down.
But what happens for the team that wins it in the next division down?
Yeah, well, they come up.
But they're saying that the lowest team that
The lowest
for 2
team,
years,
other than the team that came up, goes down.
I kind of like
So
the
you had
theory.
So
but
second last year was, I think, Eltham. Please don't hold me to that. They would have got demoted for finishing second last.
All right, so you still get a demotion
Yep.
in it.
Yep.
Right, okay.
yeah,
You'd be screaming if
Second
you're
last.
Eltham because
Wow.
this year they're playing finals.
sometimes you can't wait to get out of there. You know, it just depends on your recruitment. It depends on your crowd numbers. It depends on
I think
the
it's
season
actually a
you've
good
had.
topic because look how long you could go on about it.
There's a debate on it.
All right, let me go to the
I
next.
don't know how you fix it.
Let me get away from local footy for a minute. A question that seems to be circulating a lot around all leagues at the moment is based around, AFL is based around Tasmania coming in. If you're in the bottom half of the AFL list at the moment, so if you're Richmond, West Coast,
Essendon.
Carlton, Essendon, North, say. I think North's going all right, actually. But if you're those clubs and Tassie's coming in and they're going to obviously milk the draft for the next couple of years, you know, which isn't their fault, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Bryce Barnes, sending me a nice happy birthday when I'm not smashing him. But if we're in that position, if those lower sides are in that position, how are they going to get out at the moment if they haven't already got the cattle in there to develop?
I'll answer that in another way. How is Sydney, Geelong, how have they been able to reinvent themselves all the time? And it's really around the club culture, what you've got coming through. They don't need to draft high, those clubs. They seem to have a sustainable system that brings them up. Is it going to be harder for those clubs? Well, yeah, it's going to be. There's no doubt it's going to be. And it's a timing thing. But this timing thing happened when Freo came in, when Gold Coast came in, when GWS came in.
The difference was we didn't have as many sides in. Is the talent spread too far now?
there's
Does it
no
lessen the
doubt.
skills of the
No doubt on
competition?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's a great segue to what we were talking about, what I'm doing this evening.
Yes.
Right? So-
Tell me.
Well, we'll stay on the topic
Okay.
for a little bit, but yeah, I'll just bring it back to that.
Yes.
You know, but is the talent pool there? Yeah. I mean, numbers are dwindling at junior level. I mean, the next AFL player does come out of if it's still 0.003 out of Auskick, we go from 100,000 Oz kickers to 80,000 Oz kickers. Well,
So why
it
is
just
it?
means that there's less people.
Why is
Yeah.
it dwindling?
Too many options.
Is it other sports?
What's the biggest junior sport in Australia? Do you know? I know.
No, couldn't answer that.
Do you know?
I'd say netball.
It's basketball. Basketball have more junior participation than any other sport in Australia. It's a massive sport. It's huge. It's typically not badly run either.
But I think the other thing is too, it might be 55, 45. It's gender neutral.
Yeah. That's true.
True gender neutral.
And there are a lot of mixed sides. Like there are, young girls playing in boys' sides, and some of the girls are much better
There's
than
a
the
big
boys.
drop off though. There is very much a primary school sport. Like
Yep.
once you get into that secondary
huge
school,
drop
it's a
away.
big drop off to
Yep.
16s. You become a real baller.
Yep.
Or you just stop playing. But
Yep.
I know, and I'm only using my small little network of kids that I'm around, but elite pathways to start to make the kids feel a little bit more insecure about where they're at. So as some of their friends start to go, and this has happened at lots of different clubs. I've heard Presty talk about it at Mernda, or you probably would have seen it at St Mary's, and Eltham's a big club as well. Once some of the better players go on this pathway and they lose those kids to Knights or wherever it is,
Just,
same with basketball.
Before you
they'll-
say anything, Rob, because here's your answer on Auskick from a club. So Matt Cheswas,
yeah.
we get $3 per Oz kicker, and then we pay for their medals on presentation day.
And Auskick will
That
then
shocks me.
And then Auskick will, and then AFL Vic will actually say, yeah, but the kids get bags and they get a 3-game membership. So when you've seen that spike in membership for Richmond and Collingwood and whatever, Oz kickers have to tick a box and they get a 3-game membership, which then goes into the club's membership.
Hence why
pool.
Carlton went from 16,000 to 80,000.
The question I ask,
Yeah, well,
if
that's
you-
one of many of the little things.
the
yeah.
question I ask, if you're a local club, why would you do it?
Because
If you
it's your
don't do it, you're
pathway.
dead.
Yeah,
You're dead.
you need it as
Well,
a
you've got to
pathway.
make.
When I went back to Laylaw,
It's about surviving
my
too,
biggest
and-
thing was getting Auskick. That 2019, so I put so much energy and time into it. I had kids at Epping Plaza, I had players, Jake Langborn and Alex Deo signing up kids. I went to different schools. I went to their assemblies.
Are they
We got a
Auskickers?
sponsor. We were rebating the Auskick kids because I thought if we don't have this. If you don't have that platform, you've got you're dead.
Yeah,
You're dead.
I was going to ask a question.
Yeah, asking.
You spoke about basketball being the highest sport.
Yep, participation sport.
Participation. Is it a cheaper sport to get into? Is that a reason
Not
or
really, no, not at all.
No,
So
it's
my
much
son's
more
fees are
expensive.
about $450
Yeah,
a
right.
year at the moment.
Much more
Ryan's
expensive.
17, it's about $450 a year. The
Because
problem
soccer's
is,
pretty expensive as well.
Brandon
Well,
plus
that's
it's $3.5 grand a
15
year.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, for NPL, yeah.
They're the
880
way that
local.
they're happy to fund their senior club.
Yep.
So it's almost like you're paying that,
Yeah,
and then we've
fair
got our
enough.
senior club
Yep.
being paid. Now, if you did that at a local club, if you said, and
Yeah.
Aberfeldy, are you happy to do it?
Are
They know about it. It's almost like a private school, and you go,
Okay.
well, we're paying the fees to get there. But if you're at Mernda and said, hey, your junior fees are, and I'm not saying anything against Mernda, but your junior fees would typically be $250, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going to make them $2,500 so that you can pay the senior players.
People
imagine
would
the
leave.
uproar?
There'll be a war.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how that would go down? But soccer's got that culture, and they.
Well, let me ask you, what's the point? I know we're digressing, but what's the point of Moonda Juniors being rich? I'm not saying they are. Tommy, do not ring me. I'm just using you as a name, not as any facts. But what's the point of a Moonda Junior club being filthy rich and their senior club being in debt? What's the point of that?
I think
Because don't those little kids aspire to be those kids?
Most of those junior clubs, I find that junior clubs and senior clubs are two different identities. They're not together, are they?
Well, no.
But there are some
They run
clubs that are.
independently. Yeah,
Is that right?
I think South Marine's a sporting club. I think they're one of the few.
and look, all credit to the Northern Footy League. They took South Marine on when they were a basket case.
Right.
And
I remember
the
they had
administrators.
rule of it.
This was back about 10 years ago or
Yep.
so, and they've developed really good. They've got good people there, and they are a case study of saying this is a junior club that's got a whole heap of kids and had a lot of success, and
Yep.
now they're sort of approaching that first division, swing. Diamond Creek's another one.
So just to finish on this one, back to Tasmania, with clubs coming in, and we understand the next club to come in is probably 5 to 6 years away, is the Northern Territory, all right? So it'll be a Northern Territory side, which will then make it an uneven competition. So you would expect then there will be another one somewhere
That
else.
just thins it out even more, though.
Is a merger on the cards at any stage?
Oh, have to be looked at.
Yeah. Do you think another side will ever fall like Fitzroy? Do you think they'd allow it to happen?
I think the broadcast rights now is different to when Fitzroy was
He's
there.
the
So there's
saviour.
a lot more. There's a big safety net.
Yeah.
But would the AFL what would have dent the bottom line if North Melbourne wasn't there? I don't know.
Will they go to two divisions, two conferences? Look, I don't know. These are all hypotheticals, and they're for people to engage. Someone just puts up something about salary cap. I can't see that far, so we're running blind today. Salary cap breaches are far more prevalent influence on the performance than the point system. Big money clubs can now lower the points over time with money, regardless of a successful junior program. I didn't see who said that. I'll just put this back up. Sorry. And I agree with whoever said that. I can just see Paul. I don't know why. There, Paul Healy. Paul say I think.
He's an old Paradian.
Is he?
Great.
Well, I think he's spot on. I think clubs have worked out how to get around salary caps, and the only way you're ever going to get investigated by a league is if you have hard proof of that happening. Clubs are smarter than that now. And look, I think I spoke about it on Monday night show. I said 50% of clubs will be playing over the salary cap. Keeney said that he reckons higher than that.
I agree.
I think some clubs just can't afford to. Layla wouldn't have the money to go over, 90,000. I don't necessarily think that a lot of clubs want to. And then you'll get clubs. I know there's a club that won't get near their salary cap this year in First Division, mainly because of injuries. Too many guys are injured.
It
But
still doesn't matter if you get near it or not, to be honest. We were $40,000 under the salary cap when I was president, and AFL Vic imposed a $5,000 sanction on us.
for what?
I gave a kid a $500 fuel card who was living in an officer, came back to play when he was the
Why does that have to get declared on salary cap, does
It
it?
didn't get declared. We were $40,000 under, and we didn't get declared.
For what? For
We
what
finished
bonus?
second last.
For what was the purpose of you getting pinged for it, though? Because you didn't declare it.
Yeah, so when they went through, I had spreadsheets on every single player, and we were under because
And
of
this is
the
the
amount-
frustration we were speaking about.
Oh, again, yeah,
That's
so,
crazy.
You know, second last.
Because
and
that's
third
even
division.
happening at the highest level where people are getting cars and they're not being declared.
Yeah.
At the AFL level.
And I know I was really close to the guys at Reservoir because even when we were competing, I was helping Reservoir's committee sort of, you know, with different ideas and how to run and point of sales and events batches. And they said,
So
yeah,
is
they
it-
come down hard on us
is
too.
it-
I said, we finished last and second
But
last.
isn't there a little bit of common sense within the organisation?
Maybe that's
My
the two
God.
words that we need to use.
Why
eh?
are you
Far out.
going
Look
down
at
the
you
common
use those
sense
big
path?
words. How dare you use those big words?
That is one that just doesn't sound good. Now,
The segue. The segue to the
segue.
Or did you want to?
No, I just want to say this isn't a pot at any of the leagues either, because I think running this is bloody hard because there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of things we had.
I wouldn't want to do it.
No, mate. Definitely. This is our footy team here. This is much easier to run, you know.
Yeah.
But we.
I agree, but have some sympathy about the president who's then got to go and face 200 angry members and doesn't have anything to
totally
do.
agree.
A whole heap of greedy players that want
Yep.
more than what they're worth, you know, guys that don't want to train, and
Yeah.
then the amount of payments you got to make. So just
And especially
stand
when you
shoulder to
raise
shoulder.
a junior from under 9s to under 17s and then he buggers off for money to another club, you've invested heavily in that person. And it's happened. It's always going to happen. Segue in. Tell me what.
segue in. So we're talking about the talent pool. We're talking about the different nature of social media, iconic players and things. I got an event tonight with Yarra Glen sporting clubs. They've all got together. The bowling club, the cricket club, the footy club,
Awesome.
the juniors, they've all got together and said, hey, why don't we just run a big one at the Yarra Valley Race Club? And so, yeah, that's great. So they had a little bit of a bigger budget to use, but they used tonight I'll be talking to Dermot Brereton, Stephen Kernahan and Wayne Carey, all on the panel.
Cool.
That's
That's a fair line.
that's
Right,
as high
so-
quality as it gets.
And this is just me, you know, the pool bar room, if you like, test or whatever. So I've been saying that all week. I'm doing events with Nick Maxwell and Lee Montagna coming up. Another one with Stevie Johnson and Isaac Smith coming up. And they're all going to be great events. But those three, everyone, jeez. So
That's the
amazing.
biggest note.
So when are they big names? Tell me, like the generation, the eras, the 90s and the 80s.
He'd be my ideal guest, Wayne Carey. On if I could interview a couple of people on my podcast, on my Dazza Asks Why podcast, Wayne Carey would be top of my tree, and I would not ask him a single question about his indiscretions. I would only ask him questions about his football, where he thinks it is, what was the highlights, what are the lowlights of football.
Yeah.
Because I listen to him and Sam Newman do a podcast every week. He's no dumbass, Wayne Carey.
Well, he was fantastic
Mate.
at Bundoora a couple of years ago.
Was he?
Yeah.
Right, I didn't see it. Spion.
A
He
great
was
fella.
really good.
And
I think you
three of them.
hosted that, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe.
I think you did.
Yeah,
I think you did.
But I've done a lot of Bundoora.
No, I'm
good.
sure it was
So
you.
there's Wayne, Stephen Kernahan, Dermot Brereton is a terrific guy, complete opposite of what everyone's perception
Dermy?
is.
I've met Dermy
he's-
4 or
he's
5
such a good
times.
bloke.
He's a lad.
Yeah,
He's
a
just
good
one of the
fella.
lads. He's a good guy.
No Dusty in that lineup? You wouldn't want Dusty?
No, I'd love Lee Matthews. I love Lee Matthews for what he's about. I actually don't reckon Lee Matthews was the most skillful player in the world, but he was the hardest player. He reminds me of the way all your mates come in and talk about you being tough as nuts. But, you know, he had skills, make no mistake. But
900 plus goals as a small forward back in the day.
It was
huge,
tough.
isn't it?
No, Dusty, to be honest, I haven't shown as much interest in AFL in the last 20 years as I did prior to that. And being a Carlton guy, I've been really lucky to watch so many superstars like Sticks and, you know. And
Who's the
stuff
current
like-
superstar from Carlton? Because I'll get to my point
For
here.
Carlton?
but For Carlton right now.
Here, I'll give it to you.
Cripps?
Easy. Nah, better. He's new.
Okay.
Who is it?
Jagger.
Nah, Peter Dean's boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Love him.
Okay.
Love him, mate. He's as tough as his dad. this kid's 18 or something, and he's taken on the biggest players. He's happy to go jump. He's as nuts as his old man on the field.
Hawthorn, you'd say maybe Nick Watson?
He's the Wizards everything at the moment, mate. So I use Google Analytics to see what's polling the most and being talked about. Nick Watson's top of that tree every day.
North Melbourne, who would be the big one? Larkey?
Yeah, Nick Larkey. I met him recently at a day. He's a big unit.
This is going to be a surprising number. In 2060, do you reckon those three blokes would command the same sort of attention that I just gave you then?
No chance.
That's how big a gap it is between
Yeah.
2026
I see
and
your
now. That's where footy is missing. So when you talk about dwindling numbers, when you're talking about watering it down, when you're talking about a new game, when you're talking about
That's true.
whatever it is.
How many sides were in the AFL when you played?
I just want to use that as a litmus test.
12, then become, I think Bears came into it. I reckon it could have been 14.
Does it
possibly.
become EPL? Does it become promotion relegation and two different conferences?
I don't mind it. I don't mind the promotion relegation
Yeah.
because that would dispel a Super League. If Heidelberg are good enough to win their league and then go and play everybody else and win that league and go up,
Does it become that?
the problem is the grounds will never suffice to an AFL level.
But that's what they probably would have said.
Don't think it'll happen in my lifetime.
No, I don't think it'll. I'd love for it. I don't think
I
it
watched
will.
the what's his name? Eddie. He's the man, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. He was a soccer player and become a
Eddie
movie
Charlton.
star. Nah, Eddie.
That's snooker, mate.
Oh, is it?
Nah, I'll forget.
Not,
Anyway, what's that?
No, I'm thinking of Georgie best, but
No, he's in movies with Brad Pitt and stuff like. But he was
Really?
a EPL soccer player.
Okay.
And actually came out of a club. I don't know what it was. I don't really follow it that well. But their stadium looked like Heidelberg Soccer Stadium.
Right.
They got promoted up to, and then their stadium built, and they had an owner come in, and so it's more privatised, obviously, than what AFL would be.
Wow.
But you wonder whether then those 10 clubs are supreme to drop out. And North Melbourne, if they're really struggling, they're playing against Keilor, which seems amazing, like sending someone to Mars right now, but it could be the way. It
Can
could
you
be
get
the
a
answer.
ticket to that? Ben just put up Wayne Carey as elite as a guest speaker. I agree. Can you get tickets to this still? Is it sold out? Where you at? Sold out?
I can get you tickets. I can get you people on your podcast. I can get you everything, but it all comes at a cost, guys.
Yeah. So we're on a very tight budget of zero at this podcast.
No, I'm certain you could get tickets. Yeah, I'm certain you could. I'd maybe go to the Yarra Glen. It's not my event. It's the Yarra Glen Sporting Club event,
Okay.
and I just host it and organise people for them.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely get on the Yarra Glen Football Club website and have a look at the tickets.
It would be as good an event as you would get. And can you just put in a word
you know,
for me to
you
Wayne
know what the
and just
tickets
say,
are worth?
I don't. I actually don't.
No, you don't know?
Maybe 150, I suppose.
Do you know, I would
Get a
pay out of
meal
my
and a few
pocket
things.
if Wayne Carey. I know he's probably a lot more than $500, but if it was $500 for me to get Wayne in here to talk to him and interview him, I would pay the $500. It'd be my best podcast ever. And I hate.
You might
North
only get
Melbourne.
one question for that.
I know.
unfortunately,
That's the
so.
problem. If you can catch him on a week where the press have smashed him and he needs to pay a fine or something, that'd be great.
He's a really good fella. It's a great chat. I don't want to spoil people's, event and go there, but he really talks about how he was a vulnerable little boy and how that followed him through. And the other one, and when I say a vulnerable little boy, I mean like a 6 or 7 year old that was petrified of his father.
Yeah, right.
Saw some horrific things, and a lot of his I won't say antics, but things that were portrayed through the media at that time
Yeah.
was a mask. And the other one who talks about the exact same thing, and he talks about being on the MCG grand final day and still with 100,000 people there, in the back of his head, he could hear his dad screaming, "You weak piece of..."
Oh.
He said, it just rang in my ears, and that's
Right,
Nathan Buckley.
that's-
Nathan Buckley he said he was a petrified, scared little 12-year-old.
He's a
He would try
monster.
and find a wing somewhere on the opposite side of his father who was screaming out.
Lord.
And he goes, I could still hear him on the grand final day
the
somewhere
heck?
in the crowd.
Oh, shit
It's
bloke.
incredible that you see these people and once they take their armour off, that they're just people. You know?
There's been a few sports people like that with bad parents.
Yeah.
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 Elena Dokic was the same, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
yeah. Her
And that's
dad
at the
was a
next
total
She had a
flog.
horrific life.
Yeah. Poor,
But yeah,
poor girl.
these events that we run, I actually run it as a bit of a hobby business now. To be honest, it's not. It was my part of my wider scope. But I just love seeing clubs connect with these celebrities, stories unfolding out of them, and making some money along the way. It's a good way to spend a Saturday afternoon or a Friday.
Get his
afternoon.
number or his agent's number. I'd love to do it. I'd fund it. No dramas. I think it'd be great to have. Has anyone ever caught more media grief in your career than Wayne Carey? Because I know he's made some blues, but everyone in life makes blues. They don't hesitate to flog him in the media. Even like that last one where he walked out
Ricky
of it.
Nixon's not far behind.
Ricky Nixon, I'm starting to think Ricky likes it. Ricky's on my Facebook.
possibly.
We've spoken a dozen times. I interviewed him on a podcast last year. We did a real big YouTube video on him. He was going through some tough times and he told me some stuff. My heart melted mentally. He's gone through hell and back. They just don't let up. But he doesn't help himself when he goes and sticks his finger up at the camera as well when they're doing it. It's hard. I listen to the Wayne and Sam podcast. I never miss it every week. I've listened for years, especially since Wayne's been on there, and they just don't miss. They just don't miss a beat to smash him.
Yeah, but it's a rare beast, and
You know
Shane
why?
Warne was the
'Cause
same.
people
Tiger
will
Woods
buy
is
a
the same.
subscription for it.
The more they cop, it's like that's their way of getting out.
Did
of
anyone
it, is to go
deal
on a
with it
field.
better than Shane Warne?
No,
Did you
no.
have an affair, Shane? Oh shit, yeah, probably two. Like he
And then
just
go out
owned
and
it,
take seven
and
for
everyone
it,
loved him
you
for
know?
it. Yeah, then take seven for him.
But
that
that's a
weekend.
rare beast to be able to just park all that, go
Yeah.
out and play. But that's their theatre, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, and he's never gone down the mental health road either way. And he hasn't said, "Can you all back off mental health?" It would be easy for him to do that, and he hasn't done that. So I mean, all right, let's go to the next question. I've got a beef. All right, you know what shits me? It shits me that the politicians will start going to sporting clubs with an election coming up soon, and then you don't see them for the next 4 years or 3.5 years till an election's coming up or a local election. How come they can only give you
That's
new
fun.
cricket?
Sorry, go on.
How come you can only give them new cricket nets, or you can only put in a new pitch, or you can only get a new sprinkler system
I'm gonna give-
from your local MP leader when it's an election year?
I'm going to give one local MP her credit, and Vicky Ward has done a lot for sport in the area, and I'm
Okay.
just. I wouldn't.
I don't know that, so yep.
I don't want to say
Come on the
that
show,
I'm-
Vicky. Tell me what you've done.
She has. Epping Football Club. Epping. Eltham Football Club. That's been extraordinary. Montmorency Basketball Stadium. That's been extraordinary. Redbacks.
Yep.
The soccer. That's been
Is she
extraordinary.
there consistently over the 4 years? Is she?
Look,
okay.
she will go to an opening of an envelope. There's no doubt about
Will
it.
she?
But there is some substance behind what she's done. But I agree with you. It makes me sick that
pisses me off
You
to the
look at
eyes.
these volunteers and go, now you're trying to. Why didn't you help them for the last 3 years?
And then you only get it if you get in. Oh, look, we'll get you new nets if
I
we
was at
get
a
in.
past players event last Saturday,
Yep.
and there was one there.
How'd you go? Did you want to knock them out?
No, she was a lovely lady, but
Yep.
yeah, just happened to be there.
So what's the take
it was
from
a-
that?
Oh, don't know.
Yeah.
Don't really get involved.
It does my head in, right? So there's a couple of guys that like my odd post, right? And me being a skeptic, you're only liking my post so your name and MP at the end of it can be seen that you're doing something in the local community. Not once, and I won't swear because I'd love to. Have you ever said, Daz, can I come in the show and talk about community
I'd
issues?
like to say too, that MP wouldn't be liking your post either. It'd
No.
be a paid social media person of like,
Yeah,
how do I engage
probably.
with the biggest numbers? And
Yep.
I get paid so that
We'll
we
hit
get some
50 million views this year for a little local footy show. We've got 20,000 subscribers. We've got sponsors at the moment wanting to get involved as we've knocked the Diamond Valley Auto Care footy. But, you know, honestly, so your call out is right here. I'll stare down the barrel to your politicians. If don't ask me 6 weeks out of an election. If you want to come on the show and tell me what you're going to do for your community and you're looking for people to get involved with you, well, spare seat, be a guest, come and do a one-on-one podcast. Because if you ring me 6 months out, I'm going to tell you to go and yourself. That's what's going to happen because
So I
it
think
does my head in, mate.
if we boil it all down, peel back the onion and have a look at it, it's authenticity, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So
Be
where's
involved the
your
whole way.
authenticity?
You
That's
would
all
get
it
the
is.
community on board. If I don't know Vicky Ward, someone else from Eltham spoke glowing over the other day. The ex-president, I was speaking to him at the game. Lovely guy,
Mickey Smith?
Yeah, lovely guy. And
She is entrenched in that area.
Yeah.
Now I'm not I'm pro for. I know which way I'll be voting this year.
Pauline. You going red?
No, I don't.
Will they get Carl Stefanovic now?
Red, put it that way. I think they've just done too many things wrong to get my vote. No, that's just, we shouldn't be talking politics at this level anyway. But I'm just saying that there is
the whole show on that.
There is engagement from her level.
I'm a swinging voter, just for the record.
I won't even speak about it.
I can't even work out who's right or wrong, and
I just know that Melbourne is a building site at the moment, costing us lots and lots of money.
I just think Ellen got a 3% pay rise today, and she's giving it to charity. How about you just don't fucking take it? How about you just don't take it? Because we're paying for it.
You reckon she'd be giving it as a charity like in 6 months' time?
Another pair of Louis Vuitton shoes. All right, let's move forward. So that was the big question on that one. For you guys, has the game changed too much? Has the game of football changed too much? And method behind the madness on the question, right?
Has it changed?
So if you've got and I won't mention the name, but if you've got an ex-AFL player, I'll say Caf, because Caf's on the show. He won't probably mind me using his name, right? So when Caf started playing AFL or local footy or whatever it was, the game was a bit more physical, a bit more, in the back, or, you could hold someone off here, you could do all of this. And now it seems the whistle's going for anything. This isn't an umpiring fault. This is the rules changing way too frequently. There's a rules committee there. Every year, rules change. I just think it's making it harder for the spectator. Why can't we embed some rules to stay as they are? Has the game changed too much, Rob?
I don't enjoy the game as much as I used to.
Okay.
I still like it.
Yeah, I know.
I still watch it. But I just get frustrated. And perfect example was that, I hate to say it, Logan Morris goal.
Yep.
Disallowed. What is going on?
Yeah.
What really? Again, get back to common sense. Really.
Those two words, two big words.
Christ.
Why isn't it
It's
used?
just so frustrating. The game's so
Do
frustrating.
you watch much AFL these days, Benny?
Not really. I try to.
Yeah.
I try to say, there's a big game, and I try to sit down with my young fella and watch it.
Yeah.
And I'm just bored. And,
What do you enjoy
and,
more,
know
local or AFL? I know you would never miss your Lions.
I
There's
know
no
that, but
way.
do you know why I watch nearly every game?
Yeah.
You know why? Footy tipping.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If I wasn't in a footy tipping comp,
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I'd just watch Brisbane and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fair
not
call.
even, look, I can't even bother going local footy, to be honest.
Really.
I don't know, just,
You've lost a bit of passion.
yeah.
What about, so you're talking about hits and views, and what's got your biggest views this week?
The hip and shoulder on Tommy Surslock. Now, Tommy actually sent it to me, or clip. He's snipped me into it, which was awesome. And thanks,
you've
Tommy.
got to protect the head. You've got to
Yep.
protect the players. I
That was-
understand
that
the
was-
legalities, but if you want to look at why,
You seen it? Was it fair? I thought it was fair.
Put a smile on my face.
Yeah, I thought it was good
whether
and
it's
solid.
fair or
footy.
not, it's
Yeah.
what people want to kind of see.
Yeah.
You know?
So are we softening? I know you've got to because of head injuries, but where does it stop? My point is there's so many rule changes. So while we're on rule changes, my other question to this, and then we'll go to a bit of general conversation for the last 8-10 minutes, whatever it is I think I can solve one of your umpiring problems. If you haven't done 50 games, you should wear your yellow top, but with green arms or green top like basketball,
With an
the
L.
refs, right? And if you back chat an umpire with green on, it's an automatic 50.
I think they should definitely adopt that visual representation of
Yep.
who you're yelling at, and the amount of
It's actually not my
people in
idea, but
basketball.
I love it.
Again, it's change.
Yeah.
We're making another change.
Yeah, but I'm saying to
No, but
protect
this
the
is-
under 18s.
This is more a change for like trying to get umpires, But look, another thing. If
But
you're
you
going to look
grew
at all
up
the
with
pros and
abusing an
cons,
umpire is all right. Sorry to cut you off. I watched the Legends game last night on Foxtel or whatever, KO. They were showing like an old 1965 grand final. Mate, Keith Gregg, I think it was, he gave one umpire, he gave him the bake of all bakes. He was stomping his foot. He's like, and I know that might not be seen to be, but they could cope well with one umpire.
But
mate.
after the game,
could go
I
very
bet he went and had
badly
a drink with him.
Ah, yes. So we're speaking about
now,
this. They're
That
gone.
doesn't happen.
Yeah. Is that fear though?
Possibly.
there's an incident that you're just talking about there with Mark Jackson and Sid. Who was the Glenn James?
Yes.
and there was an interaction between them two, which I could repeat now, but I'm actually like thinking, no, that could go really bad.
Yeah.
But it was how Glenn James responded to Mark Jackson's
Yeah.
abuse, which was pretty bad.
Agitated it,
in today's environment.
Yep.
Just he would be rubbed out for the rest of his life.
Yep.
But the way that Glenn James operated with that and responded,
Yep.
that mellowed the mood. Now society's changed so much that you can't do that anymore.
Yep.
There's no doubt. But there's a massive difference between this. Okay, well, let's
He'd
just
get
talk
life
about
now.
Talk about suburban. Let's talk about suburban clubs. This is going to be one of my questions tonight about Arden Street versus Glenferrie Oval versus Princess Park.
Yep.
You know, you went to
I loved it.
Western, the Whitten Oval, or you went to Windy Hill and you watched
Yep.
suburban footy, and everyone loved it.
Yep.
Could you even picture that happening now? Like
I loved
it's
it.
just a move past that. So I think I love the suburban warfare. I love the fact that I used to stand on beer cans to try and see over people's heads at Windy
Yep.
Hill when I was trying to watch Essendon play.
Yep.
But it's not going to happen, is it? But I do like
'cause
the
it's
fact
monetised, though?
the green whistle changes a lot of people,
Yep.
particularly like guys our age, are going, oh, it's another 12s girls basketball match, and they're frustrated at the referee's decision. They look at a green whistle and go, oh, I got kids that age. Like, well, that could be my kid. So there is a visual representation to change your mindset, which is good.
Just a statement here. So Deer Park, I put it up last night. Deer Park is again pulled their twos out against Maribyrnong Park
I saw that.
today. I think this is the third or fourth time I've had to put up statements from clubs this year for this happening. Is this more common now?
Again, we spoke about fines and getting frustrated. Do they get fined for that?
Oh, you'd have to.
Well, why?
Yeah, you'd have to, as in they will.
Yeah, but why?
Well, address the problem, I guess. And I mean, I'm not saying it's okay to fine them, but
But that's part of the frustration.
yeah, but Maribyrnong will have lost money over the canteen today as well as a result of this.
I think in a walkover basketball, again, we'll go back to that. Like whoever calls the walkover, they pay all the match fees. Now,
Okay, but it's not a fine.
it's not fine. It's just like, no, the other team doesn't
But I'm
pay for
talking
the
about
umpires.
a fine. I'll bet they get a fine.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Because, but
You would.
in saying
would
that
get a
too,
fine.
and talking about our Super Leagues and who needs to play, rewind 10 years, Deer Park would have been in that Super League for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, well, someone put a comment up on my post last night saying that's what happens when you just pour millions of money into a club and then the millionaire leaves.
Yeah. But they like in saying that too, that millionaire that they're talking about.
I don't know the
when he was
club,
at
so,
Marby
yeah.
Park, Glenn Allison made sure that the juniors were prosperous. So Marby Park at the time was kind of like a Laylaw.
Yeah.
And now their juniors are one of the biggest in the EDFL. Or they may not be now. I don't know. But he definitely left that club in a better place than where it was at, and then
no
went
doubt.
to Deer Park.
And the leagues and the clubs, they need these millionaires. I'm stoked they're putting money back into local
Deer
clubs.
Park also left the WRFL because it's an inferior comp in depth as
Yeah.
what the Essendon League is.
Yeah.
Less money being spent in there. Spotswood had a Heidelberg type run, 15 years ago. But when I remember speaking to them and their committee about what money was being spent in the Northern and Eastern, and they were genuinely like shocked.
Really?
Yeah, this would have been back in these days when Spotswood played. So there's less money there. Deer Park moved across and played a different competition for that
So
reason.
now it's costing them more to compete at this level,
Yeah.
arguably.
Yeah.
I think so.
And the other thing is too, do people want to travel from Deer Park and go and watch footy at Glenroy? Or were their fans, their homegrown life members, were they happier when they were playing against Albion and St Albans?
Fair question.
You lose that rivalry, and all of a sudden, I know I've noticed it when we've gone from a first division club down to a third division club, and I
Yep.
think I've spoken to you about this, that it's like a mini reunion twice a year when Laylaw played Bundoora or Montmorency, and once, good, bad or indifferent, once you started playing against Eltham Turtles and Kilmore, there was less reason to go to the
Yes.
footy. So maybe Deer Park might be going through something like that.
Everyone goes through it, is the truth at some stage, and it's okay. Anything you guys want to touch on before we wrap up?
Basketball grand final at 150 today. Diamond Valley under 14s A grade. I'm the coach. Under 14s is such a good year. So
Well, here's one for you. Anything other than victory will be a failure on your behalf, Ben.
that's and you know what?
And I'll say,
I will go into recess
I'm
if
going
that's the case.
to say you win by 22 points. There you go. There's a tip.
I'll say the Lions are back.
Oh, you reckon? Yes. Gee, they look good, didn't they?
Yep.
They're a side you can't take for granted for 1 second, Brisbane. Someone was saying it to me the other day. It might have been Matty Bonnet. He said, don't worry about them. He goes, mate, there's no use winning too many games in bloody July.
No.
If you look at the Hawthorns era too, like they were never favourites. They sort of limped over the line. And I think when you get to that point, when you know, we can push the pedal, we can ease it off, our training, you see a lot of teams that are really dominant in that last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. They might just take training pedal off a little bit, or they start to put their players on ice. I think Brisbane, maybe they went through that a little bit.
I heard a good stat through the week.
What is it?
Last year, they won 2 out of 7.
Yep,
that
is
halfway
true.
through the year.
Yep. They wanted to sack the coach.
No, not last year.
Or was that the year before they wanted to sack the
No,
coach?
they won the year before as well.
No, they wanted him. They wanted him arsehole because he wasn't. He was off to a slow
would have been
start.
3 or 4 years ago.
Nah,
Then.
wasn't that long.
Well, we won the last 2 flags.
No, but at a part of the season he wasn't winning well. Maybe you're sitting
Wasn't
2 and
last
7.
year. I know we had a slump,
Yeah.
bit of a form slump last year, and
Is he your favourite coach of
I think he's
Brisbane's
great.
time? Yeah.
I think he's great.
But
What
you-
about you, Daz? You got
today?
Yeah.
I'm not commentating today. The league's commentating at Greensboro, so I'm going to be a spectator at Greensboro Banyule. Must-win game for Greensboro, but they've got their best side in that they've had all year. Tom Mitchell, Will Mitchell and Zach McCubbin and Ryan Commander all back in today. So them, and we've got Nathan Howard, the ruckman as well. So that's the best side they would have put on the park this year.
Who have they got?
Banyule. If Greensboro lose to Banyule today, their season is 100% cooked, in my opinion. The gap's too far. There's a lot of really good games this weekend. St Mary's got a big game coming up against South Morang, and St Mary's, I was told last night, are probably back to as close to full strength as they're going to get. South Morang carrying some injuries. St Mary's constantly sit on that fence of nearly going that next step and then sort of get smashed with injuries or anything like that. But there's just a lot of monster games locally this week. And North Heidelberg's in a bit of Barney rubble. That they got smashed by 157 points to Heidelberg last week. That's a touch up. But I think also they were probably scared to face Vinny if they didn't come back and answer for the loss the week before against the Creek. But Diamond Creek are playing today. Hurstbridge. I think Diamond Creek probably win that by a fair bit. Hurstbridge have been smashed by the injury train.
Can they lock in top 2?
They can, in my opinion, they can't get. They can't get
they're
2.
second now.
Yeah.
I don't think. I know this is going to sound ridiculous considering they've drawn and beaten Monty. I think Monty's full side in is better than Diamond Creek's full side, but by only a couple of percent. What will work well for Diamond Creek is Preston City Oval. It's a mirror image of their ground.
Coventry.
Yep. And Montmorency, Nash Holmes has just been in sensational form. Lentini, sensational form. The Usalak boys, good footballers. They've got depth with Jackson Bound and all those sort of guys. Ex-St Mary's boy, I think Bound, isn't he?
Oh, Bundura.
Bundura. It wasn't St Mary's first year. So I think there's only those 3 sides that can win the flag, but they'd be $1.50 to Heidelberg's $1.10. Division 2, I can't tell you. I'd like to think Joey Ahmed's boys are probably favourite at this point of the season, and rightly so.
I
But
think one of them plays 50 today, doesn't he?
yeah, he does. Yeah, Michael, I think it is it? Leo? No, it's not Leo.
Leo.
No, I don't think it is Leo. No,
I did see a
I did
post.
see it as well, but I really they'd be favourite. But then I think St Mary's on the day, South Morang on the South Morang would be second. They'd be second favourite. Fitzroy Stars on their day, they get all their stars back. Although my mail is they're not going to get access to Eddie Betts again. Maybe he's got a broken hand or something like that.
Can't miss a game with a broken hand.
What? No, can't do it. No. Jaden Carney broke his hand last week. He's going to take 6 months off because he's soft, absolutely soft. Weak as piss.
How's things going for him at Avenel?
Mate, I don't reckon he'll be making the drive again next year.
Oh, really?
You know how far it is. You went to Tatura. It's a hike when you're up and down there a couple of times a week. It's a big commitment, isn't it? It is Samuel Ahmad.
Well, there you go.
Yep. So 50 games. Congratulations, Sammy. So anyway, that's a wrap for the week. Guests, we'll get cracking pretty hard. I was pretty keen to get Harold Martin on, but he's just gone back to to Queensland. He lives up there in the winter a fair bit, or mainly most of the time. But, you know, we'll work hard. If you want some guests, let us know who you want, and we'll continue to fight to get them on. And we might get Adrian back next week.
Here's some names. Marty Kemp he'd be good to
that'd
have
be
on
excellent.
here. He'd have some stories. Neil Brindley, we should.
Neil.
You'll see him today.
Yes,
He'd
I
be
will.
another good one.
Yep, he'll get here. He won't hesitate to say yes.
Well, what
I
are you
reckon.
doing?
All right, I'll get him. I'll speak to him today. Tell him to get in.
Yeah.
I want to get Adam Bruni on as well. Adam Bruni's a ripper. I went to school with Adam. He was probably the best footballer at school.
Yeah.
He was very very good footballer.
Marks. Yeah.
And I was speaking to Paul Baker the other day.
His brother Dwayne
Paul
could
Baker?
handle a nightclub dance floor. He was actually pretty good.
Who's
at
that?
His brother Dwayne.
Dwayne.
could-
Yeah, I
he could
was in
handle-
the same year level as Dwayne. Yeah.
So I spent some time with him. No, there's a whole range of them. But again, they all sort of come out of one era, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, they will come out of that Diamond Valley football era. So some Diamond Valley heads would be good to have on here.
Yes.
Trevor Robinson, we still got to
trying.
knock down the door there.
He's banged a few times. He's just letting the rest room in it, I think.
I've banged a few times. I don't want him to bang me.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap the show up. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm really glad we got to discuss those topics, and I just feel that they are conversational piece. They're going to continue to come up for quite a while. You've got basketball today. Good luck, and I'm absolutely jealous of where you're going to get to host the Duck tonight, and Sticks and Dermy, three of the best players of all time, like absolute best forwards of all time. Who's your favourite player of all time? Just out of curiosity. Can't say yourself again.
No.
He nominated himself off here.
Look, probably saw Lee Matthews.
Yeah.
Was pretty good.
He's pretty
Dipper,
special.
I love
isn't he?
Dipper.
Yeah, Dipper's funny.
But are you talking past or sort of?
I think
recent?
your best of all time. The first person you pick of all time.
Yeah, it'd be either Lee or Carey.
Yeah, pretty hard to go past that.
There was a couple of seasons there where I went to the footy just to go and watch Robert Harvey. Like there was 2 seasons where he was just insane.
Dominant.
He was just running marathons every game. It was just good to watch him.
Just
I'm not
putting it
gonna
on
say he's my
Plugger's
favourite,
chest.
But James Hird for me was the one that I just thought he was.
It's quiet, wasn't he?
The best. You know, he just had that Buckley Voss Hird era. I always felt like, you know, Voss was tough, Buckley was polished, Hird kind of had both. You know, that's my take on it.
Tough one. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get into that. All right, thanks for joining. Until next week, as this little thing has to disappear so I can press off. How do I make that disappear? God, it's hard to be strange on this. But anyway, till next week, keep kicking goals.